Don't ask questions, Bill. All right, let's cut the shit.
The interesting thing about that, the Ziegler character is played by Sidney Pollack. When they started filming, it was originally Harvey Keitel.
It was originally Sidney Poitier.
No, even better, Nick.
See, everybody's got a little murder. They do something.
Even better than that. When Kubrick was writing the screenplay, and I think this underscores that the movie is really best understood as a comedy, the person he originally wanted to play Ziegler was Woody Allen.
Really?
Think about how different that movie would how different that movie would be if Woody Allen was in that role.
Yeah, it would have been a madcap comedy.
Yeah. How prescient it is that he like attributed that article in from like the woman dying to the guy that would cover not only his own death but then the death of Epstein
and the death of John F. Kennedy Jr.
Yeah.
So Nicole Kidman tells him the dream. Okay, then like day 2 starts, and in day 2 it's like the sort of dream reality is gone, and he retraces his steps from the night before, beginning, like, he shows up at the jazz club at 7 a.m. and is, like, frustrated to find that it's closed. He's like, oh, damn. I thought Nick Nightingale would be here.
I'm trying to get some morning jazz. And he just needs some jazz.
Yeah, he's just standing in front of the jazz club telling people passing by, I know Nick Nightingale.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I'm here with the fucking band. Pussy.
He goes.
We're those guys from the other night. I've been up all night doing pot, and I'm ready to fight them now.
Dude,
bro, I almost got pussy like 9 times. So if you want to call me a faggot again, we'll see what happens.
And then he goes to the diner next door, and from the waitress gets the hotel that Nick Nightingale's staying at for some odd reason.
Yeah.
Then he goes to the hotel, and we see a cameo from Alan Cumming as the hotel clerk, which is interesting because this one performance stands out against everything else in the movie. And I think it's one of those like Verhoeven-esque kind of things where like Alan Cumming was the only person in this movie in on the joke.
Yeah.
And like he's the only one who has any kind of like weird sort of comic affectation.
Who doesn't sound like a fucking zombie.
Yeah.
What it looks like is like, you know, Kubrick's like, hey, do you want to do this scene? I've been destroying Tom Cruise and what's her name's life. And he's like, that's hilarious. And then he probably worked one day and then got to fucking leave.
Yeah, no, he did all the Alan Cumming stuff in one take. I was like, yeah, you're done, buddy. Yeah. The hotel clerk says, Nick Nightingale, he came back at like 5 a.m. being escorted by 2 very large men. Big guys, 2 bad hombres. And, was bruised up, and like they shuffled him out of the hotel, and he tried to pass him a note, but it was intercepted by the goons. So he's still feeling pretty weird. He goes back there. He turns the costume shop.
The outfit.
The businessman and the teenage girl, are coming out. They're like, "Bye, see you soon." Clearly didn't call the cops, and then proceeds to basically offer his daughter to Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
he's
very, very blatantly.
He's like, "Yeah, if you need anything else, don't be afraid to ask." As he grasps his 16-year-old daughter, and is like, "It needn't be a costume."
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely the part where you wonder if this is trying to say something that the text can't due to mores and whatnot. This is more in the direction of what this really means. It's not just having boring boob-touching orgies with consenting adults. It goes deeper and more perverted than that.
And also, another thing I'd like to note is that periodically throughout the movie, Tom Cruise is just in the back of a cab or driving a car, doing the very, very the Tom Cruise intense look. And then the film will cut to his fantasy of the Navy guy fucking his wife, and just getting
thinking about it.
Angrier and angrier.
Literally every time he enters a car, he thinks about a chief petty officer just banging his wife.
He thinks about Steven Seagal from Under Siege.
It'd be funny. It'd be funny to
now this pussy needs some more bouillabaisse.
To just edit in somehow just superimpose Popeye having sex with his wife, and then just cutting back to him losing it in the fucking back of that cab.
He's mad. He's still mad at Alice. So he calls the woman whose father died, hoping to do a booty call. But the math professor picks up and he just hangs up the phone.
So then he goes to the prostitute.
Jonathan Cockstein here.
Then
hello.
He needs to get even the scoreboard again for his wife's non-affair with this guy. He goes back to the woman he met on the street's house, knocks on the door. Her roommate buzzes him in and lets him inside. And like he immediately like he's not nervous. He comes onto her straight away, starts undoing her blouse, and is like, well, if Domino isn't here, you'll do fine. And she's like, okay, maybe you were with Domino last night. Maybe you should sit down. Maybe I need to tell you something. And he's like, all right, what's it gonna be? It's gonna be good.
Yeah, he's like the way she braces him for the line, it's like it couldn't be anything than what she was telling him. But he's like, oh, she's gonna tell me that she told her that I'm probably good at sex, even though she had no way of finding out.
She's gonna tell me she knows I already paid, so this is gonna be free.
She's gonna say he had the firmest handshake I've ever felt.
I think we should sit down. I need to tell you. Domino said that you were nice. like, what does he think is gonna happen?
I need you to sit down. Do you see that giant birthday present over in the corner? Guess what? Domino pops out. She's like, I did it for you, Dr. Bill. You're the nicest client ever.
Like, I got to tell you something. Domino fucked that Navy lieutenant last night. No! God, no!
His name was Casey Ryback.
Damn it!
I've been promoted from cook, Dr. Bill.
This guy, every time. He goes back to the orgy, and that guy's in the orgy. He's like, he's here too. They're like, yes, it's the no Dr. Bill's club, and his name is also Dr. Bill. We're allowed to have one.
Everyone likes my New Orleans style Cajun cooking, especially everyone in Manhattan's wife.
Yeah, your family hates you, Dr. Bill.
They do. They really do. So the actual revelation, she's like, you're going to want to sit down for this. He's like, boy. He's like rubbing his hands together, licking his chops, eyes bulging out of his head. She goes, yeah, Domino got a blood test back last night, and she's HIV positive.
Yeah.
And he's like, ooh. And again, remember when his wife called him Saved by the Bell? Yeah. So, yeah, got so angry at his wife that he went out and very nearly got HIV from a lady of the night.
Yeah.
So he's fucked up about that.
Act like a lady, think like a man.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
He's feeling pretty bad about that. Again, walks around again at night, and then in a very creepy scene, begins to realize he's being followed by a large bald man.
I would love to see Steve Harvey review Eyes Wide Shut. But he keeps saying, we had a man write in. And he doesn't understand the concept of a movie. He thinks it's a letter that Tom Cruise wrote to the show. And he's like, if your woman is dreaming about other men, maybe you ain't take her to dinner or something. I don't know. Maybe it's time for a spa weekend. You're
going to go out there and get AIDS and look foolish.
Well, I mean, if it was Steve Harley, he would absolutely blame it on the wife for being trifling. Yeah.
Does he?
I think his standard routine.
Well, I think like old period Steve Harvey would, but like the new mainstream Steve Harvey would be like.
I don't think he would. Yeah, Steve Harvey would be like, you're just not doing enough for your woman, but like he doesn't speak in the language of any possibility of sexual inadequacy. It means like you got to hold the door for her more often. It's like you're not doing enough in the manners department, and that's what you would be responsive to.
So while he's being tailed by an intimidating bald man, he buys a copy of the New York Post and randomly finds, right next to Dagwood and the Family Circus. He goes straight for that.
Right. He's looking at Garfield, and he's like, he hates Mondays. That's his least favorite day of the week.
Marmaduke.
He's just looking at Mark Trail, and Mark Trail is like, look, it's a beaver. They make a house out of the environment, too. And he's like, ha, 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 ha. They're like, what are you doing? He's like, I don't understand comedy.
And then he finds an article in the Post about, ex-beauty queen overdoses in hotel.
Yeah.
And he's like, could it be maybe the woman from last night? Then he uses his medical badge. He's like, I'm an officer of medicine. Please let me in this.
He can do any, like he literally finds out when Nick Nightingale is going to work by going to a restaurant next to the jazz club and going up to the woman who works at the cafe and going, I'm a doctor. When does Nick Nightingale get in? And she tells him.
Oh, and actually, he tries to bluff her by saying, I have some test results that I think he'd want to know about immediately.
Yeah.
Okay, so then he goes to a hospital, and they're like, she died. And he's like, can I see the body? And he goes to the morgue, and they pull out the slab of this woman, and he's just like stares at her tits for like at least
just
a minute.
beating off in there too. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I went to this weird party last night. I'm in the music industry. Do you know Nick Nightingale? I'm actually boys with him. So. What are you doing?
He just puts his phone in the corpse's hand and sets it up on the other side of the room and starts dancing and posts the video and says, "Surgery room, it's lit." I'm big single though.
So as he's leaving the hospital, he gets a phone call from Ziegler, who is a little known fact, the father of White House speechwriter Toby Ziegler from The West Wing.
These all take place in the same universe, and it's part of the larger Max Payne universe.
Yeah. So then he goes to Ziegler's house, and what is really the kind of the climax.
Toby giving one of those impassioned fucking speeches about how she wasn't a whore, she was a sex worker. It's not a speedball. It's heroin and cocaine. Speedballs are what you call it if you don't have any respect for the art of drug use. This isn't the 1920s. It's not a jazz club. These people love drugs. They care about drugs. I care about drugs.
So, and what is really the climax of the movie, he's confronted by a Ziegler in his like beautifully appointed pool room. And this is another one of these like Stanley Kubrick interiors that take on a kind of like mythic unreality. And Ziegler's like, "Listen, I know what happened last night. I was at the party. I saw you.
Lit last night.
You looked like a huge asshole in front of everyone." And this is like the moment of the movie that's like the real like Epstein stuff.
Right.
Is when Ziegler like basically like Tom Cruise finally realizes in that moment his class position as it relates to Ziegler's character, that like he is as disposable to him as any of the women or the woman who overdosed. And then he tells him that like the woman who overdosed at the Christmas party is the one who died last night. And he basically just said, there's nothing that happened to her at that party that hadn't happened a million times before. She got her brains fucked out. And the fact that she died, it would have happened one way or another anyway. Like, she's a drug addict. Who cares?
Yeah. What happened after you left is what happened before. Someone touched her boob.
What makes
the mask against her other boob.
What makes that character so intimidating is because it's like, he has all this power, so he doesn't feel threatened by Tom Cruise at all.
Yeah, no,
So it doesn't. Yeah. It would be a hassle to kill him, but he would do it. They would have him killed. So he's just like, look, man, just drop it. It's like he doesn't need to be like a mafia guy that's like, listen, we're gonna break your fucking leg. There's no need for it.
No, he says like, look, like it doesn't matter. He's like, hey, like life goes on. You know that, buddy, until it doesn't. And then he claps him on the shoulder and it sends him on his way. And it's like, really, like that scene is a real climax of the movie. And it's very, very underplayed, but it's incredibly chilling. Like it's as frightening as like anything that Kubrick has done.
It's as chilling as like, the cameras outside Epstein's cell just weren't working. Sometimes cameras don't work.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody was sleeping.
Yeah. The guards were new. The cameras weren't working. They took them off suicide watch. What more do you want? These things happen all the time. And there's just nothing you can do about it.
Right.
And that's
sometimes highway bones break during suicide. Happens once in a while. It's not impossible.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's when Tom Cruise really realizes that like all of this stuff, like his sort of flirtation with true wealth and power, like he realizes that like he is an ant to these people.